Hey there, myself Krish Shaitukar, very warm welcome to all. And today is a very big day for system design, and especially we today focus on the low level design. What actually low level? So the important part of the low level design. Okay, so this is the OOPS principle, and previously I introduced a little bit about like OOPS principle, like what is OOPS, object oriented programming, and now today we focus on the two basic principle of the OOPS, like encapsulation and inheritance. So this is the important one. Okay, when you actually want to understand low level design much better about it. So basically. Uh, Overall agenda for today, what we are going to do is discuss here, like a little bit about inheritance and encapsulation. So this is a two method, and this is the two like two principle which is dominate over entire landscape of OOP. And when you actually understand this particular one, so you can understand the code logic much better about in low level design. So that's all about for today. Again, if this one going to productive for you, and if you learn something from there, then it's my pleasure. So let's start. Hey, let's come to this agenda number one. And in this agenda, we actually talk about inheritance. And this is the best example for like parents and child relationship. And because of that, why actually I'm talking you like this way. Let me try to understand this particular inheritance logic with the in such way like we try to connect with the real world analogy also. Okay, so let me start with real world analogy. Then we have to move toward the technical part, and I think like this is the very helpful for us. Okay, so let's suppose you want to just smack something. Okay, so you have a dog, like let's suppose German Shepherd, and okay, so in that okay, particularly you have a dog, and you buy a dog from there, where you can I don't know, but you buy a dog where actually uh, how much this particular dog is like different from this parent. So your German Shepherd is like look like similar like parents, but they have some extended property, like inherited property, but they have some extended property. They know you, and they know some kinds of the work different from his parents. Some extended property, but they have some shared property with their parents. It's look like similar like parents. So that's the basic thing. So inheritance is all like similar that we are genetically transferred from our parents, like you and me are somehow similar from the parents, not at like identical from the parents, but we are somehow similar from the parents in such way like okay, some shared property, but we have an extended property. We know little bit more about in technical parts of it. So let's suppose nowadays childs are know much about the technology, like using a cell phone, but our parents are just have a little bit, and also I like brief knowledge around this particular stuff because of they never acknowledge the what they have in that particular area. So we have some kinds of extended property, but we have a similarity with the parents. So we have a shared property with the parent. So that's the inheritance in the technical part also. So when we're talking about like inheritance is like parents child inherit. So in that part, we actually entire code basis we can actually try to just break down the entire code basis in something like parents and child relationship, like somehow shared property. Because of that, like let's suppose I give you the best example for animal. This particular animal, let's suppose we try to make a universal set where we decide okay, this particular one is animal. Yeah. So and we make a child class, dog and cat and car. So here I will just give you on both sides of the view, like how it's look like with if there if someone if any of them is not like not relationship with the inheritance, then what will happen? Car is a not relationship with the animal, have some extended attributes like body, hair, four leg, and two ear. So you make a code, you write a like body class where we actually you define some attributes which is the always you want to use in that particular dog and cat. So so in that particular one, okay, so the first you make a parents class where you where you decided we need to make some universal attributes and universal parameter, and we try to use this parameter again and again without rewriting from the scratch in different part. Some similarly, like let's suppose this is a child class where you actually write something different from that, like okay, this is animal, and animal have a few parameters like body, hair, and four leg, and four 2 ears. Okay, so the dog is somehow similar from each other, so we can keep this particular one is a child class, this is a parents class, and this is child class, dog and animal. So animal, dog come in the particular landscape of the animal, okay, and cat similar sound, but car is having a different property, they haven't so no any shared property, so we can not say this particular one is like inherited class. Okay, so car is different from it, so this is not a part of inherited class, but dog and cat is just have a somehow shared property from the universal sets, like body hair and four leg and two ear. So they have, okay, so when we're talking about like child class have some extended property, so dog just bark and child whisper, so somehow they have extended property, but like some, so we actually focus on like little bit about shared property, not at like all the identical from its parents, but somehow similarity. We are looking for similarity. The Okay, so that's the basic thing in the code logic of law level design. Law level design is a design in such way like to understanding that concept very well when you actually focus on that part. The important part is like something when you just try to know that okay, animal and child, like parents and child have some shared property. It's well, the main question is like why we necessary to discuss that particular stuff, why this particular one is important. When you're talking about importance, like somehow let's suppose uh, in animal class you decided all the universal attributes and all the parameters, and you make overall blueprint of your structure. Okay, okay, so and again when you want to write a code in different lines, so you not write from its scratch, you just use that particular property and somehow the blueprint in such way like okay, I use this particular stuff and we add something like this. It sounds similar like framework, but it is a different from it. Framework have a one specific part, but it have a two different area to discuss, like they have a child and animal. So that's the particular, so the use cases of inheritance, like it helps us to reusability, like if you want to use the code again and again without writing from the scratch, then it helps us to reusability. And okay, reusability very matter because of that. When you write a code like again and again from the scratch, then I think your code become too much lengthy, and somehow it's very difficult to maintain for long term uses. And sometimes you fail to understand when after long period of time when you watch the particular code, so that's the very difficult. And also the memory problem, organization and maintenance. So for when you just use this particular method, parents and class method, to just break down the code in entire logic in such a parents and class inherited properties, then it is very helpful for organization, for maintaining a structure of the code and maintenance. Okay, and extensibility, it helps us to extend the code. Okay, when you want to just extend the code from the different parts, like okay, yeah, we need to just extend much more about the code, so we can use this. And okay, so that's the basic property, I think, like use of the inheritance in that particular landscape of the entire coding logic. And law level design is basically that this is a basic part of the oops principle. And when you actually move toward the oops principle, when you actually apply the oops principle, every concept, and I think like every software is based on oops principle, because of that without this particular stuff you cannot imagine like something like you can say entire the landscape. Okay, so you can't imagine like a good and like long term use software. So people are saying that they can make a $1 billion app with vibe coding. This is only possible when you understand the oops logic. So that's okay. Okay. Let me try to just make pseudocode. Let I give you a little bit explanation of the pseudocode. How can we just write the code with their little bit inheritance, in the logic of inheritance? I think like the best way to just we try to make a class. This is a parents class. Let's suppose I want to just discuss about little bit about car and its brand and year. I'm just maintenance of the car. Okay, so let back make a brand, like first we make a class, okay, with universal attribute and with specific parameter, like brand and year. So this is two parameter I use again and again without writing from the scratch. This is the entire blueprint of the my whistles. Okay, and in that particular one I just want to make a entire landscape of whistles. We add the child class with the inherited property somewhat class. So we use this brand and year here. we pass again this parameter, brand and year and fuel type. So here I add little bit one extendable property, fuel type. What kind of fuel type is it? Like something like eco-friendly, or some like not eco-friendly, like petroleum, and something depend on electricity, and sustainable fuel, or something different. Okay, so here we add the fuel type, brand and year. So we use this particular parameter again here. So that's the how we are trying to organize code in such way, like different child blocks. And then after, when we actually try to just pass any parameter, just we need to call only for okay car, and we add some the parameter like brand, and okay, so this particular brand is like Honda, and something like year like 2023, and fuel type is like PC, fuel type is like electricity. So we need to pass only for parameter without just pushing from the calling again and again all the parameters separately. So that's the basic thing I think we need to just focus on, especially when we're talking about OOPS. So in real world use cases, like OOPS is very important, and especially inheritance play as such a dominating role of entire landscape of the OOP. So that's I thinking about it. So that's all about it, like pseudo code for OOPS, and I understand very well about OOPS very, because of that I know that OOPS is like similar. Okay, OOPS is similar about when we're talking about like uh, parents and child relationship. So and real world analogy, it sounds similar, but somehow different. Okay, so it's all are copied from the real world analogy to the coding logic to understand and maintain for long term uses. So that's all about it. And let's come to agenda number two. Okay, let's come to agenda number two. And in this part, we actually focus on that encapsulation, and really that particular interesting concept. When we actually focus on encapsulation, is all about the idea where we this particular topic is not only for you can say uh, like understanding the code logic, maintainability of the code, and just like similar like it's not a similar like inheritance. It is all about like security purpose. So I give you just little bit hook to understand this particular concept in such way, like okay, yeah, this particular concept look like this. Yeah, so let's suppose what happened if the you're actually you using payment gateway app like something, yeah, PhonePe, and this is the particular app. What happen if you edit your money without just any formal validation directly? Then what will happen? Okay, so someone can add like a billions of rupees in PhonePe account without just anything happen. Someone can add trillions of rupees without any evidence. So how can we just maintain that structure to map all the particular system in trustable way? So when we're talking about trust is a very important for any software architecture. Because of that, only user can trust you as like okay, so your customer can only trust you. Because of that, they give you all private data. And as a developer, as an engineer, as a founder, your responsibility just keep her or his data safe for long term. And that's a good founder, and I think good developer, good engineers uh, policy. And that's the basic thing that you should to know about that particular stuff. So uh, that let's suppose that Google have lots of data, the millions of trillions of the peoples in the whole over the world. The main policy of the Google, the company policy is made in such way like we can never just use the personal data of the user, and they look toward the customer privacy and policy, and just they spend a lots of money in that particular step in like cybersecurity and all the particular. So that's the important part. So similarly, when we talking about encapsulation sounds similar because of that. When we actually talking about encapsulation is all about protect, interface, and control. So we want to just design a software so in such way like we just do okay, we just keep this particular software, and we protect sensitive data, and we provide a such an interface where user can interact only for that necessary. They are not focused on that unnecessary change, sensitive thing. Let's suppose you go to the website and somehow okay, so you looked at interface where you looked at lots of things around it, but actually you are not just get command over their backend logic. That's not in your hand, and basically no company give you as backend logic in your command. That open source, only open source platform allowed this particular stuff, but somehow only for app allowed this particular stuff. And we want to just keep control access for limited access. So in the entire software architecture, we protect the sensitive data. We give an interface to interact with a particular system in like for only for necessary uses, not at like hacking purpose or stealing data. So that's the basic thing. And we give a control access, so that's the important part, restricting a user to get over the entire access of the data from other person also. So that's the basic thing talking about like encapsulation. So you can imagine encapsulation in like a little bit about like capsule. Let's suppose paracetamol. So let's suppose paracetamol as have on a cover. Inside the paracetamol have like lots of like chemicals or and like drugs are available inside the cover. The only thing that you are uh, ob- like only thing you can look and just touch a part of the paracetamol is outside of the paracetamol, not at inside. So company designed that particular paracetamol drug in such way like you can only interact with that outside part, but if you want to just move toward the inside, it is not possible. If you do so, then it will destroy. Okay, so it's all about like in the technical part when we're talking about technical part also, so it sounds similar because of that. When we're actually talking about technical part, like okay, so we try to make a class where have a variable and data and method. So we just protect the internal data and method in such way like okay, so no one no just third party and the third person can access this particular stuff. Okay, here is I think like two amazing logic work here, getter and setter, but I will come this particular stuff. But before going to discussion like more depth, just we need to discuss the two use cases. The first one use case is like security. The first one is security and second one is maintainability. So when you actually want to maintain for long term uses, it's very helpful for. And second one is security purpose is very important for. And reusability is also a part of this, as oops is always designed for just reducing the code burden and maintaining for long term uses and all the particular stuff. So that's the basic thing we can talk it. So let me try to explain you like this particular stuff with their pseudocode. And before going to the pseudocode, just okay, let me try to understand with the pseudocode first. And I try to connect with the getter and setter method with that particular stuff. Okay, so let's suppose if we want to design a software and we need to write a low level design, we need to write a code. So in that part, I think like we need to focus on, let's suppose we make a class. Let's suppose the best example is like bank payment gateway app. So in that you are just write a logic class bank account constructor, owner name and initial balance. Okay, so this is a few constructor is all about like something initialize value where you want to use. Okay, let's suppose this is a particular parameter. If you want to decide this particular parameter is going to global. Okay, so let's suppose your company want to go global, so you use IPO. Okay, everyone can participate in your share and just buy your share. And okay, so that's the basic thing. But in that particular one, I think constructor is sound similar. Like constructor just says that your universal attributes, it's define all universal attributes. Let's suppose your name and initial balance, this particular stuff. The main part of the payment gateway app, just we want what we actually want to just make control over the entire software, entire coding logic is like something we want to just give limited read access to the particular user and customer. Because of that security policy, because of that we actually want to they only access that part. This it's on, this is necessary, and without verification we're not allowed to just fetch out the account details of its own account also, not at all another account. So that's the basic thing. So we want to just maintain that particular stuff. So initially we need to create a class. So let's suppose we create a bank account class that constructor with their ownership and initial balance. Second one is like we tweak this, we try to just getter method. So what is the getter method? Getter method is like way to read a data from the databases. Okay, so let's suppose not databases, but in getter method one normal user can try the limited things. Like normal user just search for, okay, so let me give a balance, account balance. Okay, so account balance. Okay, so they search in the go in the interface and just search about, let me give a account balance of the particular stuff. What will happen? We just restrict to use, we we know that anyone can try this particular thing, so we can restrict that particular protocol. Okay, so this is not way to just call your account balance without validation. So let's suppose this is normal, this is a user, and normal method try to their fetch out the account balance, and the access is denied. Read, read is denied. Second way, like how actually one developer or professional or particular one who actually have a knowledge uh, and knows about the software, they can, how can they actually understand the, what the basic thing is, how can we read the data. Initially developer, let's suppose developer try to just find out the account details and the particular client, okay, particular professional who are working in the bank and just want to just fetch out the account details of the person. They try to just getter method, they get balance, okay, and like little bit they try to the, okay, so they try, they know the what private attribute. So here we use some specific private attribute, and only we can know that particular private attribute. Okay, when we write this particular private attributes, it's give the entire data about the particular client information about balance. This is like key, so we only know that only few people know, and the working professional knows about it, the private key. So similar like private key, so a developer use the private key, let's suppose the get balance, they call get balance, and after they make validation and they successfully fetch out the account details. This is a two way for look toward their entire when we're talking about this reading method in that entire landscape of you can say encapsulation. Like initial balance is private data, and we make some private key, private attribute, and only few of them, few people knows about, a few group of the peoples knows about that private key. Okay, if you want to just fetch out the particular details, information, it is like limited because of that. uh, it's just only for like some kinds of the normal software, but not at for high security, but we can just use this particular for protecting the data, sensitive information. We can add more layer of the security, because obviously like any enterprises who have lots of sensitive data, and if the particular sensitive data leak over the internet and someone can violate this particular, steal the data, then it's very it create a huge problem, I think. Like, so that's why the important part is like we just need to just protect the data for adding more security layer, not at only for, I think like this is the one initial step for this particular one. This is like basic step for security, protecting the data sensitive information. So in that part, like initial balance and the gate balance and calculation happen inside it. The main part that we can capture in the idea is like a developer who know the private key and that access the account balance easily, but a normal user who have no idea about what private attribute, the coding logic and something else, they are not allowed to access that particular information. So that's sensitive information. So that's the basic thing in getter method work like. So in two direction, I will show you like how actually both portion look toward this particular method of the getter. Let's say try to just what happened. This is all about reading. If you just someone want to read the account balance, then how the particular how can we design that particular method to set particular stuff, to do particular stuff. But what happen if someone want to just add more money? Like let's suppose if the particular person have a 100 rupees in bank account like phone pay, they can iterate this particular number with the take 1 trillions. It's violate, and sometimes without evidence is like it's work like nothing. So similarly, uh, we apply setter method to just protect the user from doing such stupid things. uh, okay, so that we try to understand setter method. We just make some kinds of the condition. Okay, so setter method is like some writing a data in database, but we make some few conditions to just if particular normal person want to write, then it's basically it's face some kinds of the condition. The first is like suppose if someone is really want to just add balance, they need some kinds of the evidence. Okay, someone transfer money like 50 rupees, then you can add 50 rupees. Okay, that's right. But if someone want to deposit 100 rupees, then initial balance plus the added balance, this particular one added. Okay, if someone want to transfer money, but in his or her account have 0 rupees, then you can show the invalid balance. Then we make conditions. In the first condition, you can't transfer the money if you have just as less than like if you have a zero balance in your account. So that's the basic stuff that we're talking about it. And this is the normal method. The people when actually try to write some kinds of the information that transfer the withdraw money and deposit money. I think the normal method we try to just add some kinds of the condition to just know that how can we just know that particular stuff is like real or something fake. So we try to add some conditions. Okay. And okay, so this is the view from the user side. This is the user side view, and we're talking about developer side view. A developer have a direct access. As you know, this they already write a code and they know what the how can we change the data, and they have now all the particular logic, and we can trust on developer because of that. Bank can trust on customer on its employee for particular editing information. So that's okay. So developer method can direct access of the particular code. They can whenever they want to just add it and just withdraw the money whenever they want. So this is the view from the two side when you actually look toward there how actually it's work. But important part is like we understand the idea. In encapsulation, in short, if I want to explain, it's all about like protecting sensitive data and give a limited control access to the particular user or third person who actually want to just know more information about the particular software. It is only possible by giving a simple interface, and if the particular person was moving toward the coding logic and something different, then we can say it is like limited for this particular stuff. So that's okay. So that's all about for encapsulation, and the main benefit like security purpose and deliberate maintenance and reusability also play an important role and in low level design. So that's all about encapsulation, and if you know that encapsulation is very well, then you can okay, so it's all about like you can also apply in your like lots of application software architecture to understand much about encapsulation, and that's the basic method where we try to just protect the sensitive information. Okay. Again, if this one going to productive for you, if you learn something from that, then it's my pleasure. See you soon.